Where should you be buying in and around the Austin area the last half of 2023? Let's talk. Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Now, for a while now, I've been saying the best time to buy a home in and around the Austin area is going to be the last half of this year. We are hitting that time frame. We are starting to see prices still drop a little bit. So what suburbs should we be looking at? Now, I did a video talking about the zip codes that dropped the most from year over year. Let's look at the suburbs that dropped the most, and maybe some of these suburbs are where you're going to look going into buying this buying season. Really, this buying season is going to be the last half of this year with prices continuing to drop. We got inventory still at record highs, almost 4 months inventory. So that means that there's going to be some deals to be had the last half of the year. So let's look at what's happening here. So let's go down to the very bottom of this list. I'm going to work my way up the list of the biggest price drops year over year. And we're going to start with the bottom of the list being New Braunfels. New Braunfels came in at just under 400,000 with a 1.6% drop in prices. That's not very much. In fact, if you know me, I've been buying properties in New Braunfels, and turns out I've been doing pretty good on that one. All right, one area that everyone's always looking at is going to be Cedar Park. Now, Cedar Park's at the bottom of this list with only a 3% drop year over year, and they're at 542,000, really 543. It's interesting, if I look at the averages versus the medians, prices are all over the place, and especially when you look at the median versus the average, because if you looked at the average on a lot of these, so the median on Cedar Park was 543, the average is a lot higher. In fact, almost all of these, the average is a lot higher, just how the median's done. And you've asked me in previous videos, why don't I talk about average versus median? Well, those people that report all of the news about Austin crashing always report the median, so I'm trying to stick with what they're talking about. But here's the tough part. For you as a consumer trying to buy in Austin, the median doesn't really represent the average. The average is usually a little bit higher. If we were to search around Cedar Park right now and try to find homes, there's 132 homes on the market, but only 72 of those are under 550. Now, that's pretty good for you. So let's keep going up the list here. Jarrell was next on the list that saw the lowest amount of decline at 3.8%. Jarrell is now at 385,000. Remember how we were talking about Disney a long time ago and Jarrell? Well, right now prices have gone up pretty high year over year in Jarrell, but we're down 3.8%. I mean, when I think about Jarrell, I think about buying homes under 300. 385 for the median's pretty high. Next on this list, as we move up the list, now we're gonna end at most significant price drops, right? As we go up this list, next is Leander. Leander median price right now is 483,000. It is down 5.2%. But if we look at the zip code that's closest related to Leander, 78641, it's down 12.9% with a median of 485. So if you look at all the other zip codes that make up Leander, some of them are a little bit higher. So really the main zip code's still down almost 13%, but overall Leander is down 5.2%. Let's keep going up the list because you're gonna love the next one. The next one, my home area, Dripping Springs. Dripping Springs showed up at a negative 7.7. So year over year, from the peak of the market last year to now, it's down 7.7 at $623,000. If we look at the median for that, the average is a lot higher. It's like in the 700s. If we look at 78620, which is the primary zip code for Dripping Springs, it's actually down 22%. Now, a lot of that has to do is there's a lot of affordable homes that, well, when I say affordable, more affordable homes that are hitting the market in some of these areas in 78620. So you can find homes under 500 in Dripping Springs, believe it or not. Now, they're not gonna have gigantic lots. When people reach out to me about Dripping Springs, they're asking me about these $1 million homes with huge lots. But if you want that, you're looking at 1.5 plus for that area. 78620 down 22%. A lot of that has to do with a lot more of those affordable homes selling. And so that's something to think about as you're looking at this video is what areas can I start finding more affordable homes if you're looking for affordability. Now, Dripping Springs is still one of the best areas in my opinion, but let's keep going up the list. One that's in the news a lot is Hutto. Hutto is down 10.6 as a whole, down to 375. That's year over year. All these numbers are year over year. And for the zip code of 78634, you're looking at about down 12.3%. So we're going up this list list, these numbers overall are going to get worse and worse. Now the next on this list is going to be Kyle. As we go up this list, these numbers are going to get a little more significant, but 10.9% Kyle is down to 336 as their median. Now if you look at the average for Kyle, it's a lot higher than that. In fact, the zip code for Kyle is 366 as the median, so 78640, and that's 10.9 as well. So they're right the same there. So I don't know how they went from 336 for Kyle as a whole to 366, but if you're looking at Kyle right now, finding a 3.2 under 400 is still not very easy. Next, we go up the list to Manor. Manor's always in the news because it's developing like crazy. We're talking about its proximity to Tesla and all that fun stuff. Manor, the median price is $345,000, down from the peak last year, 12.7%. Now, if you look at the zip code for Manor, it's only down 7.7%, but that's still giving you a $403,000 median. So it's weird that when you look at Manor as a whole and then like the main zip codes there are higher. However they pull this data, they're not pulling it the same way I'm looking at it, I guess. But down from the peak, 7.7 at 403. If you go into Manor and you're trying to find a $403,000 home, there's not as many as you would think, but Manor's proximity to downtown is an appeal. Next on this list is Liberty Hill. The median price for Liberty Hill kind of baffles me because I always thought it was going to be fairly well priced compared to some of the other areas like Manor. But when you look at Liberty Hill, you have a lot of these higher end homes being built out there. Some of these builders are building, large lots. So if you're looking for large lots, that's probably where it goes, Liberty Hill. Still needs a lot of infrastructure, but Liberty Hill is a great up and coming area. Down from the peak, 13.1% and a median of 471,000. So that's pretty high, but if you look at the best zip code or the zip code that people move into the most, 78642, you're looking at 555,000 as a median, down 5.8%. So, maybe zip codes around that aren't selling as high, or maybe they're having more of those lower dollar. When I say lower dollar, I mean under 550,000. Going up the list, we go to Lago Vista. Everybody has been talking about Lago Vista. People are moving there because you can get views close to the lake, proximity. Lago Vista is down 13.8% at 450,000 as a median. And if you look at the zip code's pretty much the same at 449, and it's down 14.5%. So Lago Vista, that area people are looking at a lot. Price is dropping a little bit there. All right, let's look at Elgin. Elgin is an area that's really up and coming because proximity to the Tesla plant, not really downtown, but to like Round Rockdale, places like that. Elgin is down 15.5% at 301. I thought 301 is the median. I would be thinking more of Gerald, but there's been some announcements of some new neighborhoods coming out in Elgin, so keep an eye out for Elgin if you're looking out there. As an investment strategy, I don't know that that's going to be the best investment strategy overall, but I don't think it's a bad place to look. I just don't see Elgin you buying a home at $305,000 and it being worth $500,000 in 4 or 5 years like we saw with a lot of the areas around Austin. So that's just me, but what do you think about Elgin? Okay, going up the list, we're still seeing bigger and bigger drops, and we're going to see more prominent areas and names that you're used to hearing. So let's talk about Pflugerville. Pflugerville is down 15.7%. Its median is now down to 425. Finding a property for 425 in Pflugerville isn't easy. There's some new stuff coming out that's smaller. The zip code is about the same, 16.9%, so 78660, 425. Same exact thing, a little bit higher down percent, 16.9. What do you think the rest of the list looks like? Drop comment below because it's going to get pretty hairy with some of these. So next on the list is Georgetown, down 18.8%. with a median of 410,000. One of the biggest zip codes for Georgetown is 78626. It is at 390. That's a $20,000 difference between Georgetown as a whole and that zip code, 14.7% down. Faring a little bit better than the Georgetown numbers. I mean, we're getting higher up the list. There's only a few more ahead of this. So Georgetown is one of those areas that you're looking at buying. Might not be a bad time if you can buy something in the under 410 price point. Not going to be the easiest, but I think Georgetown still has a ton of growth coming to it. You have the Taylor plant coming. That's going to help Georgetown. So I think a lot of positives for Georgetown there. Round Rock is interesting because Round Rock is the same exact median right now at 410,000. And I actually have the big zip codes here. We'll look at those in a second, but down 19.6%. So that's a pretty big drop for Round Rock year over year. Let's look at the zip code. 78664 is down to 410,000, 7% down. So not as bad if you're looking at that zip code. 78665, which is also another prominent zip code, is at 472,000 as a median. There's some little bit higher priced homes in that area. That's down 20% year over year. So if you're looking at maybe moving to Round Rock and you've been looking for trying to get some of these better prices, maybe you start looking at Round Rock now down 20-ish% for the most part. Okay, Taylor is one that's always in the news. Obviously, you have the Samsung plant. The median for Taylor right now is 300,000. There's some news coming out about new developments in neighborhoods coming for Taylor. So it's down 20.8%. So 300,000, if you can find something in Taylor for 300 in one of these newer neighborhoods, I might say it's going to be worth it. I don't know. The next couple on this list are pretty interesting because you don't really think that these would be the worst on the list, because especially one gets talked about with in the same breath as Tesla a lot. But let's start out with probably one of the better ones, Lakeway. In fact, you know, before we get to Lakeway, let's talk about Bee Cave. Bee Cave came out at $1.38 million as the median price, and it's showing that it's up 27%. But Lakeway and Bee Cave shared the same zip code in 78738, and the median for that's 957,000. So if you want me to do a Lakeway, Bee Cave versus Dripping Springs video, I can do that. That'd be a fun one to do. Lakeway as a whole is showing it's down 20.8%, but when you look at 752,000, so 20.8%, seems pretty high, but then we look at the two zip codes that go along with that. So 78724, 752,000 is the median, down only 3.6%. And then look at 78738, which ties into Bee Cave, 957, only down 4%. So I'm not really sure how Lakeway showed up is down almost 21%. So this baffles me, and this is why I always gotta say, you gotta look at the deeper numbers, because that's kind of ludicrous to me. I don't know. Bastrop is next on the list, so there's only one above Bastrop. Have you guessed what the one above Bastrop is? But Bastrop, 288,000, down 26% from the high last year. Now, look, was that because a lot of people were buying in Bastrop speculating because of Tesla? And was Jeremy saying, man, I don't know about Bastrop being that area yet, and trying to tell people maybe don't buy one of those lower priced homes out in Bastrop? I don't know. Maybe I did say that because I did say that. Now, I've had clients buy closer in from Bastrop, and you have really nice 1 acre homes out there. So, but if we look at Bastrop, so the main zip code is 78602. We said it was 288,000 for the median for all of Bastrop. 377 is the main zip code, so 78602, down only 10.7%. So that's why I say we got to look at the zip codes in conjunction with the overall numbers, because if we just go by what these numbers put out, I don't know how they came up with these numbers. They have different way to pull it, but here we go. Last on the list, very important, Buda, number one, highest price drop. It's interesting to me that Buda is seeing this, because when I look at zip code for Buda, it's not 30%, but here we go. 354,000 is a median. If you can find a $355,000 home in Buda, probably doing pretty good. There are not very many homes in that 355 price point on the market right now in Buda. 78610 is the big zip code for Buda, the main zip code, and it's at 416,000. So see what I'm saying? If you found a property at 355,000 in Buda, that's amazing. Hard to find because the main zip code is only down 14%. So if we're looking at all the zip codes, the highest zip code that's down is the 78620 in Dripping Springs, which is, like I said, there's a lot of lower priced homes on the market compared to what you get in Dripping Springs. Other than that, if you look at the rest, I mean, 16% down in Pflugerville. You're looking at 14% down in Buda, 20% down in Round Rock. Those are the biggest ones. So what do you think with these price drops that we've seen year over year? Do you think that these numbers are going to continue? I think we're going to see a lot of fluctuation between now and the end of the year, but which one of these suburbs would you be wanting to buy in, and which ones are you going to give me a call about? See you in the next video. Have a great day.